Hello, welcome back. So in the previous part, we have seen the different cases for analyzing the T-beam or L-beam. So we have seen that all the cases are dependent on the location of NA. So now in this part, we will discuss each case with the help of sketch. So first case was when the neutral axis lies in the flange. And it means that the depth of neutral axis will be less than df. So this is the case. In this, neutral axis is lying within the flange, and therefore we can treat, in this case, the area of concrete above neutral axis. So which means this part will be under compression, and below neutral axis it will be under tension. So under tension, concrete is considered as cracked, so only steel will be taking the tension. So in that scenario, what we can do is we can consider this T beam as a rectangular beam, having width as BF and depth as XU. Depth of neutral axis as XU, and steel will be there. So basically, we will, by considering this, we can apply all the formulas that we generally use for rectangular beam to calculate the moment of resistance. The same formula we can use here also to calculate the strength of beam. So yes, concrete below the neutral axis is in tension is ignored, and steel reinforcement takes the tensile force. T and L beams are considered as a rectangular beam of width BF and effective depth D. And all the equations of singly, doubly reinforced rectangular beams are also applicable here, because we have assumed the same beam as a rectangular beam with the width of flange, width of beam as BF. So that is the simplest case. So now coming to the next case, which is second case. So all second case, third case, and fourth case will deal with the location of Na when it is lying within the web. So these cases have other aspects also, like they depends on the type of section. If we have balanced section, in that case XU max will be constant, and we will consider DF by D ratio. So case 2A has a further case, which is DF by D ratio, as if it is not exceeding 0.2, which means when DF by D is less than or equals to 0.2, in that scenario, how the diagram will look like. So here you can see when DF by D ratio is less than 0.2, then the fiber of 0.002 strain will lie within the web, which means the whole flange is under constant stress of 0.446 FCK. So whole flange will be under constant stress, while the part of web will be under constant stress, and the remaining part, this one will be varying stress. So in this case, the depth of rectangular portion of the stress block of constant stress in this case is greater than DF. As I said, that this one I am talking about, this rectangular block of height h. So this h in this scenario will be greater than df, which means whole df will be under constant stress. So to analyze this section, what we can do is we can split this T beam into two parts. One part will be as a rectangular web of width BW and effective depth. So basically, to divide this beam, what we do is we can divide this whole beam into a rectangular part and the remaining part as these two flanges. So this will be considered as part 2 and this will be considered as part 1. So we will analyze, we will evolve the equation for this part separately and this part separately. So first part is rectangular web of width BW. This is the BW and depth D. So this depth will be D. And the second part is flange of width BF minus W, BW. So this and this width. So this width will be BF minus BW. So here you can see this part we will analyze separately and this part we will analyze separately. So you can see this part is, we can treat this as a rectangular beam, and the remaining part we can have the formula for moment of resistance. So in that scenario, to calculate the moment of resistance, we can say that total moment of resistance will be the sum of moment of resistance of this rectangular part and moment of resistance of this flange part. So that is what I have written here. Moment due to rectangular web part plus moment due to rectangular flange part. So that is the total moment of resistance for this T beam. Now, to have the formula for this in this scenario, so I will provide you the direct formula in this case. Now, this formula, this one formula is for the rectangular part, and this formula is for the this two part. Now, how this formula is derived here, I will give you some insights. Say, if we draw the stress strain diagram, stress diagram for this rectangular part, so it will something look like this. Okay, up to this. So this value here is 0.446 FCK, so that we have seen earlier, and here it is 0. So you can see up to a certain depth it is constant, and after that it is parabolically decreasing. I mean the variation is parabolic. So average stress is, so as you can see, maximum is 446 FCK, and at neutral axis it is 0. So to calculate the total, the average stress, it is 0.36 FCK. I'm not going to the derivation, but the average area of this rectangle and parabolic part, it is around 0.36 FCK. So that is what written here, 0.36 FCK. So basically, moment of resistance is stress into area multiplied by lever arm. So that is the formula. That is a simple formula to calculate the moment of resistance. So here, this is basically the stress, and this is the area, BW into XU max. So only this part is active. So this one becomes BW and this one becomes XU max, because we are calculating the value for balanced section. So in this we use, because this is only the effective area. So 0.36 FCK is the stress in concrete, and this is the area of concrete which is effective for resisting the compressive force, and the lever arm. So lever arm is the distance between the centroid of tension force which is passing through the center of bar, and the CG of this whole area. CG, say for example, CG is lying here, so this distance. So this distance is D minus 0.42 XU max. Okay, and this value is 0.42 XU max. Sorry, I will make some here. Okay, one second. I will explain you with separate sketch. Yes, say this is the rectangular part. And if we make the stress strain diagram, say these are the bars. So here it will be the tension force, and in the concrete, the stress diagram will something look like this. Okay. and this value is 0.446 FCK. And as you can see, here it is maximum stress and here it is 0. The CG of the whole area will be somewhere here. And this distance from the topmost fiber is 0.42 XU max. All these values are basically the derived value. So I'm just showing you the derived value. So 0.02, and this value is D. Okay. So in this scenario, the moment of resistance from the concrete side, we can write as MR as 0.36 FCK multiplied by the area, because this area is active. So this is BW and this one is XU max. So FCK BW into XU max. Okay. And so this becomes stress into area multiplied by lever arm. So lever arm is the distance between the CG of bar to the CG of stress in concrete. So this is the CG. So this distance is the lever arm, which is D minus 0.42 XU max. So that is what we are writing here, D minus 0.42 XU max. So that becomes the formula of moment of resistance for the rectangular element. Similarly, we have the flange part also, which means this one. So now if we consider the flange part, now flange part is having depth DF and the total width as BF minus BW. So BF minus BW by 2 is this one and BF minus BW is this one. So adding that, we get the total width as BF minus BW and depth as DF. And the stress in this flange, because we have seen as per this case, because DF by D ratio, when it does not exceed 0.2. So in that scenario, I will show you that diagram again. Yes. So in that scenario, you can see the whole flange is under constant stress, which means it is having stress as 0.446 FCK. So that is why sometimes we can write this as a round off value, say 0.45 FCK. So that is why we are taking stress in concrete in case of flange as 0.45 FCK. So yes. So here moment of resistance. So stress in the flange is 0.45 FCK multiplied by the area of flange. So this area and this area. So the total width is BF minus BW multiplied by DF. So that is what written here, BF minus BW multiplied by DF. So that becomes the area of flange multiplied by the lever arm. So here also lever arm will be the distance between the CG of bar to the CG of the flange. So as you can see, CG of the flange will be at the center. So this distance and this distance here will be D minus DF by 2. So that becomes the lever arm in case of flange part. So this is how we get the formula of moment of resistance for this TB for case A. Now going to the same formula, I mean the simplified form of this formula is given in the IS code also. If you go to this this clause G 2.2 of IS 456, so we can refer the same formula there also. I will be showing you that formula once we complete all the cases, because the formula is very similar for all the cases. We just need to understand the basic details, how we can use this formula for different cases. Now, this is case 2A. Now going to the next case, which is case 2B, when DF by D is more than 0.2. What does it mean? It means that the flange thickness as compared to the overall depth or effective depth of T-beam is less. And it means that the constant, I mean the 0.002 strain element, it will lie within the flange. So this is how we can show that. And because of that, this depth, which we are calling as H, this time we will be using term YF, which will be equals to H in this scenario when 0.002 element lies within the flange. So here, as I said, the depth of rectangular portion of the stress block, this rectangular portion, we are talking about this rectangular portion. So this rectangular portion will lie within the, I mean this part. In this part, it will be constant. Stress in this part will be constant, and some part of the flange will not be having constant stress. So therefore, in this case, the constant, I mean depth of this constant block will be less than df, and the value is assumed as yf, which is h and which is less than df. So here in this case we are required to find out yf value. So in IS code also yf value is given, and yf value is taken as 0.15 xu max plus 0.65 times of df. So this value, this formula is already given in the IS code to calculate this value of YF. So we can calculate that with that. Now we will see the concept of moment of resistance in this scenario also. So again, as I have explained in the previous case, we divide the T-beam into two parts. One is the rectangular part and the second one is the flange part. So rectangular part is web of width dw and effective depth d, and flange width is bf minus bw. But this time the depth is yf. In the previous case, we were taking depth as df because stress in the whole flange was constant. But in this case, stress in the whole flange is not constant. It is constant up to a depth which we are referring as yf. So that is why this time we will be taking depth as yf. So yes, so here you can see we will be considering only some part of the flange this time to calculate the moment of resistance. And because of that, the formula is modified just because of the value of yf. So although the formula that we have used in the previous case, we will be using the same formula by simply replacing the value of df by yf. So the formula is same. The only thing that we will be replacing is the value of df. So here you can see this formula is same. The only the only term which will be changing is this one. So in the previous formula, we were using df. So this time we will be using yf in place of df. So yf d minus yf by 2. Okay, so that is the only change that we will see in case 2b. And the same formula is given in G 2.2.1. So this formula is given in G 2.2.1. So basically this is the basic formula. The simplified form is given in the IS code. Now going to the next case, which is the third case for the under reinforced beam. So when our beam is under reinforced, in that scenario we compare df by xu ratio. In place of df by d ratio, we compare df by xu ratio. So in this case also we have two cases. So first case is when df by xu ratio does not exceed 0.43. In this scenario, this figure is exactly similar to case 2a. The only difference is that the beam our beam in this scenario will be under reinforced beam. Okay, but otherwise the figure will be same, and therefore which means that the stress within the flange will be constant. Like in the case 2a, we were considering that stress within the flange will be constant. The same scenario here will also be here. The only difference is that In the case 2A, it was balanced section. In case of 3A, it is under enforced section, which means we have to compare DF by XU ratio. So if it is less than 0.43, it will be exactly similar to case 2A. So the same I have written here, since DF does not exceed 0.43 XU and H is at a depth of 0.43 XU, the entire flange will be under a constant stress of 0.45 FCK. That is what I am saying. So in this case, the moment of resistance will be same as we have used in the second A case. The only change will be replacement of XU max by XU, because in under enforced section we use XU in place of XU max. So that is why the formula will be same. The only thing that will change will be XU. So in the case 2A, we were using 0.42 XU max. So here we are using 0.42 XU. All the diagram, all the things will be same except the value of XU. So here we will replace that, and here also XU max will be replaced by XU. So all the things is same. This one is same. Change is in this term. Similarly, going to the case 3B, it will be similar to case 2B, and that is why the formula will also be similar to that. So this diagram, you can see this diagram is exactly similar to case 2B. So in this scenario, we will be using YF, which means part of the flange will be under constant stress. So the same things we are using here. So moment of resistance of T or L beam in this case can be written in the same manner as in the case of 2B by simply replacing XU max by XU, because this is our under reinforced section. So again, now I will show you the formula. Yes. So the same formula that we have used in case 2B, it will be used here also, simply by replacing the value of XU max by XU. So the same formula we are using. Also, the formula of YF, in calculating the value of YF also, I think I will show you the YF value first. So to calculate the value of YF, here we were using 0.15 XU max in case of 2B. Now in case of 3B, we will be using 0.15 XU plus 0.65 DF. So that is the formula that we will be using to calculate value of YF in case of 3B. Yes. So the formula for this is this one, and the same is given in IS code. Now coming to the case 4, when the section is over reinforced. Well, in the previous part, I told you that when our section is over reinforced and balanced, we use DF by D ratio. So because of that, now also in case of over reinforced section, XU is greater than XU max. But in limit state method, we restrict the value of XU to XU max when we have over reinforced section. Now what does it mean? It means that all the formula that we have used in case 2A and 2B will be followed in case 4B. So exactly all both formula will be used in this scenario also, and that is what I have written. In both cases, we will be using the same formula. So in case 4A, the formula that we have used in 2A to calculate the moment of resistance of T-beam, the same formula we will be using for case 4A. Similarly, for case 4B, we will be using the moment of resistance formula for that we have used in case 2B. The same we will be using here in 4b also, and that is what I have written here. This case is exactly similar to the case 2a and b, and the equation of MR used in case 2a will be used in case 4a also. Similarly, the equation of MR used in case 2b will be used in case 4b, and the figure will be exactly similar because we restrict XU as equals to XU max. Okay, so that is the scenario. So now, first I will show you the IS code, and in the IS code I will be showing you the formula that is given there. So here in the IS code on page number 96, so we will refer to this clause G.2, and this is for flanged section. So in G2.1, it says for XU is less than DF, the moment of resistance may be calculated from the equation given in G1.1. So what is the case? This case means when the neutral axis lies in flange, and this is our case 1. So case 1 will have, I mean, in case 1, what we do is we assume that our beam as a rectangular beam having width BF. So now I will show you the rectangular formula that we will be using in this scenario. So for case 1, we will be using all the three formula. So this formula we will use to calculate the value of XU, but the only thing that we'll replace is we will replace this B by BF. Similarly, if we have under reinforced section, so we can calculate moment of resistance of the T beam by using this formula simply by replacing this B value with BF. Okay. Similarly, if we have over reinforced section or balanced section, so for that we can use this formula to calculate the moment of resistance, and here also we will replace B by BF. Okay, so that is the case 1. Now we will discuss about case 2b, 2, 3 and 4 now. So now going to the next clause, which is G2.1. So it says the limiting value of moment of resistance of the section may be obtained by the following equation when DF by D ratio does not exceed 0.2. So DF by D, when it does not exceed 0.2, it will be for case 2A and 4A. So in this scenario, we will be using the same formula. So as I said, the simplified form of the formula that I have shown you in the slide, it is written here. So this formula we will use for case 2A and case 4A. Now, if we want to use this formula for case 3A, so in that scenario, we have to replace this XU max by XU. So in place of XU max, we will put XU, here also XU, and then this formula will become for case 3A. So in that scenario, we can use the same formula for case 3A also. Now we will talk about case 2B, 4B and 3B. So going to the next page, so here this is saying that when DF by D ratio exceeds 0.2, the moment of resistance of the section may be calculated by the following equation. So when DF by D ratio exceeds 0.2, so this is case 2B and case 4B. So in that scenario, we will be calculating moment of resistance of T beam by using this formula. So 0.36 XU max by D. So this is again the simplified form of the formula that I have shown you in the IS code. Sorry, I mean in the slide. So in this scenario, we use YF value, and YF value can be calculated by this formula. Now, if we are using case 2B or 4B, so here it will be XU max. Similarly, for case 3B, we will be replacing value of XU max by XU. So in this formula, if we replace XU max by XU here also, then this formula will become for case 3B then. And here also YF will be 0.15 XU plus 0.65 D. So all these values are here and all things are written here. So that is, so whatever we have discussed in the slide, all the things are based on the IS code recommendations. So that is the theory of T-beam. In the next lecture, we will take some example to analyze T-beam. We will use all these formula that we have discussed in this lecture. Thank you.